Hello everyone, I'm Lily, I'm the Furniture Doctor, and we are back today with a new project. Well, it's new for you, it is very old for me. This is a 3-year procrastination project. So we're moving soon and I figure I finally need to kind of address all of the furniture I have stockpiled in my storage unit and in my garage and kind of just do it instead of collecting new things to work on. So this is a Kent Coffey Perspecta lowboy dresser. I have had it for almost 3 years. I need to go back in my camera roll and see what exactly I paid for it and when I got it. And I did sand the top of it years ago, and it's been sitting in my garage ever since. I remember the finish on the top was really hard to get off, and I just kind of left it. However, I did get the matching tallboy with it, and that I completed, finished, and that is actually in my master bedroom. So I kept that one, and I've been meaning to do the lowboy, but it's just been buried. And so we're gonna take it out today. We're gonna get started on it. I'm very excited about it, and hopefully it all goes well. Never does, but hopefully it does. I think I am gonna keep this piece right off the bat just because I already have the tallboy, but yes. Now it's time to put the drawers back in. As you can see, I have baking soda inside of these drawers. This came from a house where the people smoked, and so I put some baking soda in, and this has been sitting in there for like 3 years, and it does not smell at all. So. It has all of the original hardware. Really good. Love that. So let's talk about this piece and my plans for it. I have not looked at this piece in 2 to 3 years, and honestly, it's not in as bad of shape as I thought. Looking at the drawers, the finish is pretty good, and on the sides as well. It's pretty good. There's just a few areas of chipped veneer on the edges and on the legs. And I'm honestly wondering if I can just get away with leaving the original finish, which is what you want to do anyway. There's no reason to take off the finish and refinish it if it already looks good. Especially a valuable piece like this, the more you can leave original, the better, and the better return you'll get, because that's what collectors want. So obviously the top is already sanded. That was a goner. I know that from when I did that years ago. So that obviously is going to need to be refinished and matched to the rest. But I'm really thinking that I should just leave the drawers and the sides as is and just try to kind of patch the damage the best that I can. When I did the matching tallboy, I made a huge mistake, and I accidentally sanded through this rosewood veneer. So these handles, just the arches, are made of rosewood. And fun fact, it's very common to have an allergic reaction when working with rosewood. And so what I did to the tallboy dresser was basically just leave the contrast. So underneath it was a lighter wood, and also same thing with the sides of the dresser, the frame is lighter, but it's toned to a walnut color to match the rest. So if I do sand any of the side, I am gonna have to, when I mean side, I mean this. So if I do sand any of this, it's going to be a different wood species, and it's gonna be significantly lighter than the walnut veneer on the drawer fronts and on the top and on the sides of the dresser. So I'll just have to tone that, which is not a big deal. But I'm really thinking maybe I should just try cleaning the drawers first, see how they look, and if I can leave them alone, then that would be great. That would be less work, more original, which is what you want, win-win. So yeah, let's give it a good clean. I'm now going to go in with a shop vac and vacuum up all of the baking soda that has been in here for the past 2 to 3 years. think this is gonna take me a while, so I might just kind of try to agitate it and then dump it in the garbage instead of vacuuming it. All right, skip that step. Let's go to wiping it down and see what we're working with. I am just going to use some water and just dampening my shop towel. Okay, so there is a pretty solid scratch right there, which I didn't really see before, right on that drawer. It's gonna be a bit harder to clean, I already know, because there's see stain right here. I think I might actually try krud kutter to get this one off. Oh, that's on pretty good, isn't it? Going in with krud kutter on the top. Looking at this stain right here, what I'm going to try to do is take some lacquer thinner and some very, very, very fine steel wool and try to lightly remove it. I'm hoping this minimizes any like not refinishing, because I'm gonna have to refinish regardless, but I'm hoping this allows me to just kind of take off the stain without doing too much. Okay, wow, that worked really well. Lightly take. Oh my goodness, that actually worked really, really well. Cool. Now let's see if I can repeat the success on this drawer. Okay. So that removed most of it, which is to try right here. Same thing. I'm a little more nervous to do it on here because this is the rosewood. But wow, okay, it's actually coming off way more easier on the rosewood. Now, wow, that worked way better than I had anticipated. It's a new day. I took out all of the drawers. What I think I'm just going to go ahead and do now is address all the areas that really need repairs the most, with the first one being this leg in the front corner. It almost looks like a dog, like gnawed on it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is flip the piece on its back and then going to kind of address it a little bit more. I think I'm going to go in with some epoxy putty and then sand it down and see if I can just make it look like a flawless repair. We'll see if I have to sand the entire leg, but I hope not. But yeah, let's take a look. This piece is very, very heavy, which means it's very well made too. So here is the damage. I gotta clean those spider webs, but you can see it looks like something got a hold of it and was chewing pretty well. So we're gonna try and fix this. So what I have here is some medium brown or some walnut epoxy putty. This has been left out, so it might not be too good anymore. It's like a Tootsie Roll. I'm gonna take a little bit off like this and knead it together. And this is what we are going to use to fill. It's very hard to knead this in these gloves. What I'm going to do is just put it along this edge. Okay, so we will let this dry and cure, and then we'll come back and sand it smooth. This little patch right here. This epoxy is the best because it's colored, so I don't have to worry about really color matching it once it dries. But it is so expensive, so when I have any made, I try to use it all so it doesn't really go to waste because it's so pricey versus if I were to use like the JB Weld quick wood epoxy, which is also great. It just doesn't have any color, which I'm sure there's a way to add pigment to it, but I haven't experimented with that yet. Epoxy putty has cured, so for this we are going to use SKIL's brushless 20V compact multi-sander. It comes with these two attachments. I'm going to put this one on right there, and then I can use this as a more detailed part. I just finished sanding the epoxy. It is all flush now, so that's good. As you can see, I sanded off some of the finish, and now you can really see how it's a different wood type. It's a lot lighter than what it is stained to be. And so I'm gonna say this is oak. So I am gonna have to stain this and tone it because since it's not solid walnut, so I'm gonna have to do that. There are some like little dings and stuff along the rest of the leg. I'm going to lightly hand sand that and see if I can just maybe make them a little less discreet, and then we'll also stain and tone those when I do the rest of the leg. But I am happy with this. Obviously the colored epoxy is a little bit darker than the oak, but that's okay because in the end it will all match once it's toned. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I actually really liked this sander, and I'm not just saying that because I'm paid to say it, but I've never seen anything like that. It kind of reminds me of like a multi-tool attachment, like how you can get a little sanding attachment for a multi-tool, but this, I've never seen something so narrow. I don't know if any other brand of tools make this, but I'm pretty impressed, and the battery is still full after solid like 20 minutes of sanding. So Only thing that would be a little bit better would be if it had like different speed settings. It only has one speed, but so do I. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna sand ever so lightly just along this little edge to try and kind of flatten out this. So I'm using my Gator micro tool. I'm gonna use 220 grit. Just very, very lightly sanding right here, just to kind of smooth it out. We don't want to do too much. Okay, oh, it looks a little rough, but that's okay. On this leg, just lightly, ever so lightly, sanding some of the blemishes. What I am doing now is mixing this Mohawk medium brown wiping stain. I've literally had it since I think 2022. I'm gonna mix it and we're gonna apply it right over here. I just literally dunk it and wipe it on. Let that sit there for a few minutes and then we'll wipe off the excess. Now time to wipe off this excess. It actually looks pretty good. The only thing I'm probably gonna have to do is draw some lines to mimic the grain, but honestly, and tone it just slightly, but looks pretty good. Lightly sanded. Looks good. As a reminder, I already sanded this years ago. I'm going over with 120 grit and just kind of trying to buff out any sanding marks that I may have on here already. And then we'll move our way up 180 and then 220. I will say I am pretty impressed with this dust extractor. So it's a new day. It is absolutely freezing outside, which is a nice little switch up. But what I'm going to try and do now is put a little bit of Mohawk Easy Vinyl Sealer on these drawers, and then I'm going to put a coat of satin lacquer on here. I just want to see if that is good enough to kind of refresh the finish, because you can kind of see where I use the acetone or lacquer thinner to get off those little spots of stain. So I'm going to see if that might do the trick to like refreshing the finish, I guess, because I really don't want to take it all off, but I just think it just needs like a little extra top coat. So I'm hoping that works and I don't have to refinish all the drawers, because I just don't want to do that because the original finish is in mostly good condition. So we're going to try that and see what it does. I'm only really worried about one drawer front. one of the really long ones. That one has like the cracking finish. So that one we'll see, but we'll try it on this drawer first. All right, here we go. A bit, that might have been too thick of a coat, but we'll see. I don't know if you can see this, but it almost looks like the vinyl sealer is sitting on the top, which is not really a good sign, I don't think. But it also seems to be drying quick, so maybe I just put in too thick of a coat. I guess we'll see, but that's not really comforting to see. So, okay, time to stain. Ready? Here we go. Oops. I usually apply this with a foam brush, but I don't have any. Wipe down to get off any excess. But okay. Whew, that was exhausting. Okay, that was stressful, but this is what it looks like now. So we are gonna let this dry, and then I can do some vinyl sealer and top coat. But today's progress is good. The leg looks good. That stained really well. Stained better than I thought it would. So we're just gonna kind of have to tone it slightly, paint in the green, and then seal everything. And also the color match for the top, it's pretty great. Like, might not have to tone the top at all. When you look at the side to the top, it looks pretty seamless. So that is excellent news. It's another new day, and yesterday I tried putting a little easy vinyl sealer and then lacquer over a few of the drawers, and it turned out pretty well. But what I'm going to do for these two middle drawers, there's a little bit of the finish kind of wearing in the middle of this piece. I think I showed in an earlier clip. I'm going to use lacquer thinner on this whole drawer because it's just not looking great. I'm going to do the same thing on this drawer, and then I'm going to re-seal it and re-lacquer it, because I just think that's the best thing to do with the way the finish is failing. So yeah, using clean strip, lacquer thinner, and very, very, very fine steel wool that I put somewhere. And then once I do that, I am going to seal the top of the dresser today. And this is 0000 fine wool, whatever 4 zeros is. So here's what this drawer looks like after I use the lacquer thinner. So it looks way better. That's really good. Now I am going to sand ever so lightly with 220 grit. I'm gonna wipe this off with a little bit of mineral spirits. Stain these drawers. And using this attachment just to ever so lightly sand off that epoxy, because I really don't want to disrupt the finish on here, although I know I am going to slightly, but we're going to try not to. I will need to do some color correcting, but it's sanded flush. Okay, now we need to do the same thing right here as well.
Hey.
And we also need to stain this little part. So now I am just going to try to color match this slightly, just so it looks a little bit better. It's not too bad, it's just, I love these. I've had these same exact sticks for over, I think, almost 3 years now. I still literally have the same kit. Like, a little goes a long way. I'll link them in the description. They are incredible. You just have to make sure that you seal them correctly with vinyl sealer and a lacquer top coat. They will not go over an oil-based top coat or a water-based. See, that looks better already. We'll just add a little bit of raw umber to kind of mimic a little bit of green. There we go. Voila, now it's time to seal. While I'm all geared up, I am going to apply some easy vinyl sealer. We're going to add a coat of vinyl sealer onto the drawers. I had stained them earlier, that is dried, so now for some sealer. First, for a sheen, I'm going to use a dead flat lacquer, and then I'll go over it with satin after a few coats of this. So all of these drawers look good. What I'm just gonna do is add some more lacquer on them. I clean them up, and then I just think the lacquer will just make them shine again. Also going to add another coat of lacquer on the top, and then also on the drawers that I stained. So I'm going to add those this time. So I added dead flat first, and then I might do another coat of dead flat now, and then semi-gloss or satin. I'm not sure. Whatever I do, the last few coats will be satin, but sometimes I just like to build up the finish with dead flat because I have a lot of it, and then also it kind of, I don't know, somebody told me to do that once, so I don't know. I put satin lacquer over this already. I still need to do some inline grain painting. What I do for this is something I haven't done before, so it's going to be trial and error. But I have these Blendall powder stains from Mohawk. This color is raw umber, and this one is Van Dyke brown. So what I'm going to try to do is do the inline painting with some paintbrushes, and I am pretty sure I know how it works. I'm going to spray a little bit of this onto the plate, mix together some of the pigment, and then use my paintbrush to kind of draw it. So we're going to try out a small spot, see how it goes. Pretty good. I really don't think I would notice that unless it was like I was up close and personal with it, because from far away the green looks pretty good. My face is all crazy because I just had my mask on, but the green looks pretty good in my opinion that I just painted. Now I have to put these hardware back on, and I'm not really sure what to do. I might just leave them and then have you guys tell me what I should do, because I had done a Broyhill Saga dresser over the summer or earlier this year, and it was similar hardware, and I spray painted them and the internet lost its mind. So I'm not really sure, because it is a like authentic Kent Coffey Perspecta dresser, and so I don't know if I should just kind of leave it as is, because I'm going to keep this, or if I should spray paint, you know, the middle of the handle, like the taupe color that it is. I think it's supposed to be like a faux wood look. You can kind of tell on the inside of one of these how, let's see if you can see it. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I might just leave it and have you guys tell me what I should do. Going ahead and reinstalling the hardware as is. So as you remember, this piece I have had for over 3 years in my garage. It came from a house where the owners were smokers. I've had baking soda sitting in the drawers for the past 3 years, and it's safe to say that the smell is completely gone. I got any tobacco residue off. I thankfully only really needed to sand the middle drawers. The top was already sanded from when I originally attempted to start this dresser a few years back. So I sanded it down with 220, gave it a stain, sealed it. It looks fantastic. I fixed the chipped leg and color corrected that. The sides look great, so I didn't touch those, and the side drawers look pretty good. So after all of that, I was about to tell you guys that the transformation was complete, but I walked away for a second and I looked at the dresser and I was like, it kind of looks a little weird. So I got my level, and I don't know if you can see that, I'll zoom in on it, but that sure as heck is sagging way too much right in the middle. Oh my God. So I need to find a way to add a support, because I don't want that, obviously. Now, I don't know if that happened before I bought it, while it's been sitting in my garage, or when, but damn. So like I said, I am keeping this piece, and we are moving in like a month or two. So I didn't want to refinish everything, because I know it is going to get dinged up in the move, and then also it's going to get wear and tear over the years. So why like completely refinish it now when it's good enough, and just really refinish the portions that needed it? And so I'm kind of glad I went with that approach. There are some dings and scratches on the drawers, And you know what? Honestly, I love character in a piece, so I'm kind of leaving them. But there's gonna be more dings and scratches as it's in my house with, you know, an 8-month-old. So, and when he grows up into be a toddler, and you know, this is gonna get wear and tear. So I figure, why invest that time now? You have the wear and tear of the handles. The other thing that I said I was going to do throughout this process was to tone, and I actually used no toner on this piece. I only used Mohawk medium brown wiping stain, which I'll put in the description, and honestly, it looks like a very, very, very close match. On screen, I do see a little bit more discrepancy than I do in the natural light, which is interesting because usually it's the opposite. So I really don't want to add toner and mess with it further when I really just think this finish needs to age a little bit, and then it will look like it'll look like the sides. And it also kind of looks like it's on purpose because it's just the middle drawers that are slightly lighter. Side drawers are the same. So yeah, I don't want to mess with toner because if you put too much on, you can't go back, and then it's a whole mess. The other thing I'm worried about is the sagging. I need time to kind of figure that one out, so we're not going to address that in this video. I actually need your help. So if you have any ideas of like what to do, because I feel like if I were to add a support right in the middle, you're going to see that, but honestly, that might just be the best bet. I don't know if I know of any refinishers who have been able to like successfully reverse the sag, but I at least want to add a support so that it doesn't get worse or collapse and break on me. But yeah, so if you have any advice on that, let me know. But thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to do everything YouTube allows you to do, like, subscribe, comment, because that allows me to keep creating free content for you guys to watch and consume. But I have tons of more projects in the work. I am working my little butt off, and I can't wait to show you guys the next project. Thanks for watching.